Hey everyone, it's Dinah, and we are back with more of the boys Diabolical, the animated series that they did ahead of the boys season 3 and everything. The first episode was an interesting one, was an interesting and fun one. We had Simon, the scientist who worked at Vought and was actually training. Under his wing, he had one very particular baby that he was training, one soup baby with laser eyes and stuff. I never presented any other powers, just like for the sake of that one story, just like laser eyes and everything. And there was a whole lot of carnage and a whole lot of slicing and dismembering and killing and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, but then their baby hadn't actually met the criteria. Like they were training and kind of raising kind of baby suit babies up to actually be given away to families looking to adopt suit babies and probably kind of become like the success story. So then the successful babies who had mastered their powers as babies would then be passed off to families, and then the families would share stories and build up Vault's rep and everything. And then the failures, the errors and everything would just be terminated and everything. So then the baby that Simon wanted to save was added to the list for termination. So then he tried to save it and everything. And then Vault found out, and they sent squad after squad of Vault kind of SWAT teams and shit after them, and Simon just waded in and out of chaos on the way to actually rescue the baby. And the baby itself, the baby was just having a blast. The baby was having a literal blast, just kind of cascading through the city and just laser blasting everything in her way and everything. Killed just like a number of like armed guards and bodyguards, and even the big brain scientist at the end literally sawed his big brained head in half, and he used the last few seconds of his life to try and clamber his brain back into his head before accepting defeat and everything. So it very much matched the visual and kind of content, kind of gore and content, kind of body horror you usually get with the boys in animated form, and it kind of made for it to be more amusing that way. But yeah, it ended with Simon and the baby safely escaping Vaught's hands, at least for now, and everything, and he kind of ended up actually wanting to save the baby and adopt her and everything. So yeah, presumably they've also both just fully escaped from Vought, at least for the time being. They've kind of escaped from Vought and everything. So yeah, so it was a great episode in that sense, and like a good kind of behind the scenes look at exactly how shady and how unethical, as always, Vaught's kind of procedures and Vaught's kind of secret projects are, and the truth behind the children of Vaught's experiments and where they go and where they come from and everything. So yeah, it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. So yeah, on to this next one. Don't know what it's going to be about. I think I'm probably going to explore, like I think it'd probably be a fun idea to explore more of like the kid, like the kind of children of Vought and all the different places they can go and where they can come from, and how selective Vaught's kind of process, because just like a number of different kinds of kids were under the adoption and training programs of Vought in the last episode. So I guess if they want to continue that story, we'll see how it goes. I think we've even had like a glimpse of it in the first couple of episodes of season 3 as well, with the Red River adoption kind of place too, where Victoria came from and everything, or where Nadia came from before she became Victoria. So yeah, I guess we'll just see what the rest of the season actually holds and everything. So yeah, I do wonder if they're going to switch up the animation style or keep it as it is, because I think last one was very, very kind of Looney Tunes inspired, with like even with the Vought Tunes being their kind of brand and everything. So I do wonder if they're going to actually kind of branch out down the line and actually evolve and stuff. The last one was also set in the present day with like Starlight and the Seven kind of being a thing. So who knows where they can go with it. But either way, it's really cool, and it's still really well done animation too. So yeah, just really looking forward to seeing what the rest of this season actually holds in store. So on to episode number 2 of Diabolical. Let's go.
A Supes powers first
Red
emerged
River,
when their kids,
gifted
still
child,
living
yeah.
with their parents. A shit home for kids with shit powers.
Kids with shit powers, really?
Mo-Slo.
Mo-Slo, oh, the
Probably
opposite of
pisses his
Slime.
pants before he ever
Oh
reaches the
gosh.
bathroom. Boombox. He's got a speaker for a face.
He has a
and all he can play is Only Wanna Be With
He
You
has a
by
boombox as a
Hootie and
head.
Blowfish. And that's Kingdom. He can turn
Kingdom.
into any animal.
You give them
But
very
he transforms
interesting
body and
names.
mind.
Oh.
At least he seems happy as fuck. That
Kingdom.
Mexican flag-colored liquid in the kiddie pool.
That's a
aqua.
That's a
But
child.
he can't turn into a tidal wave or anything cool. He just sits there because he's fucking water.
That's a child.
That's big.
That's a
He's
child
just
who turns
really big.
into A wet
Best
flag.
friend is human with no bones.
Oh,
Picante
Christ.
balls. He
Picante
can do anything with his
balls.
testicles. Ranch dressing
Even
comes
himself?
order. That one's self-explanatory.
No!
Baby
Gosh.
face
Oh, baby
and his
face.
ghost.
Yeah,
She walk
these.
through walls, but she can't touch anything or be touched
Uh,
or eat food. Not that she needs to, except she still gets hungry.
So can she starve to death then? Because she's not dead, right? She's just like a... She just phases through.
They're made. Compound V is a
Ah, the Compound V news flash from season
They
2.
said we'd be
Yeah.
rich with a superhero kid.
It's not our job to take care of Vought's mistakes, okay? It's yours. We're leaving you here. This was a mistake.
Oh, gosh. That is horrifying. Oh, before she...
That's flashback. He can...
Flashback.
Well, you know.
So Supes are
Can provide you with flashbacks.
what goes around comes around, cocksuckers. It's
Hmm.
time for a family fucking reunion.
Oh, they're gonna take revenge on their parents? Is that what's happening here?
That's right. I'm the one talking. I'm
Yeah.
a Supe too, and my power is I always tell
Narration.
people what's going
Narration.
on. I'm the narrator.
Wow, that is a...
Contemplated that as Barb.
I mean,
Head
that's an
nurse entered
arguably
before
cool
me.
power. Depends on how you
Barb
use
wields
it.
her favorite-
An animated short where pissed off Supes kill their parents. Oh boy. Okay, it's almost over too. Weird. We could put the title this deep, but we can do whatever we want.
Compound V is unpredictable. Some kids end up able to fly, and others, like yours, shit poison. But
Shit
yes,
poison.
we'll take the kid
Wow.
and help you move. You just
Would that hurt? Shit poison? Because it hurts if you like consume it, right? But not if you excrete it. Well, I don't fucking know how it works.
Maybe I'm not that important, but I can locate any papers anywhere. And I'm
That's
pretty
your
good.
power.
Showtime.
Locating papers. Oh. Might as well be an airbender. You should tell people you're an airbender. That's so much cooler. You should literally tell people you're an airbender. Yeah, an airbender, but only in a library. That would be the best place to, yeah, demonstrate your powers.
Oh, you probably heard the papers rattling inside there because of me.
Yeah.
Our parents address.
Oh, not nearly enough. Whoa. Oh gosh. Oh, the Mexican flag kid. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh, electrocuting them. Oh, can that happen with electrocution? Or is he a special kind of water? The boom box. Oh, blow their brains out. The sound waves. Oh, jeez. Yeah.
You were shitting all over the rug.
Oh. Is this Kingdom? Oh, this is Kingdom. I think this is Kingdom. You can transform into yeah, and the mind and body. Oh, Jesus, yes, it works. When they want to kill, when they want to cause chaos, their powers work. Yeah.
Hey, flashback. Can you show us what this lady did to deserve this?
Yeah, flashback. Yeah. Oh. Oh, she butchered animals.
Jesus fuck!
No, she butchered animals. Oh gosh. Oh. 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 Mm. Oh, Mo-Slo. Mo-Slo.
What? You're doing... killing me. Getting a little tighter.
Oh.
All right, there we go.
Okay, there we go. Just ample time to escape that, and you just didn't use it at all.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
There we go. Oh god, Mo-Slo. Oh, the big gigantic dude. Okay. Ay. Oh.
yeah. Oh, that's good.
Oh, what? Oh. Shrimp girls. Oh. God, being killed by overheated balls. Oh god.
I want to feel, but I can't. I want to touch or eat or taste. I can't. I even want to die, but I can't.
You really want Mo-Slo to do this? Oh, maybe want to take time. Take their time. Take the time. Yeah.
Just like this.
Just like this. Oh, no. Oh, you can see it in his mouth as well. Oh, cut off his tongue. Oh, gosh. Oh, Ghost. Homelander! Fucking Homelander! But Ghost can't die. Can she? Ghost can't die.
You monster! I wish you were never born!
Love you too, Mom.
Oh my
I'll be
gosh.
back one day.
All the fucking kids.
Sure, Vaught's shitty cover-up works.
Oh, yeah,
but thanks
Vaught's.
to Ghost, all the orphans knew the truth now. But you weren't special enough to keep, his dad thought. The narrator wheeled over
Oh,
to his father and
jeez.
put a spoon to his chin and scooped his dad's face.
Oh, he
Then
did that,
put
did
his
he?
dad's face on his own and looked in the mirror and said, "I'm sorry for being selfish, son. I
Oh,
love you."
God, the bloody smile. Oh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh, so yeah. Oh gosh, that was. I mean, yeah. I think that the last one was like ended on like a much more wholesome note and actually had like a more kind of had more of like a like somewhat more of a story you could root for. But this one just kind of. I mean, this one obviously it did kind of make you want the kids to be happy and for them to get some kind of justice after all the shit they'd been through at the combined hands of Vought and their parents. But this just was wild. I felt like this just didn't hold back. This just did not hold back like at all. It was very 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 special in that sense. Yeah, so yeah, Red River. They explored Red River. So I think you know what? After this, I feel like it definitely kind of would have been slightly more beneficial to have watched this before starting season 3 at all. I mean, even then, I think from where I've gotten to, I think they've only actually just kind of actually mentioned and introduced Red River, and even then, like I think in episode 2, it's like they did not cover any of this. I think even for episode 2, I think the only stuff that I think I remember them covering is that it's a foster home for Soup kids and everything. I think I'm not sure that they actually kind of specifically labeled them as rejects or errors from Vaught's experimentation, or if they just kind of labeled them as like generic Soup kids that had nowhere to go, like maybe if their parents gave them up because of it or anything like that. And I mean, to be fair, it's been a while since I've actually watched that episode as well, so there's that. Because Victoria Newman came from those on, because Stan had actually adopted her from there, they wanted to actually bring that story in, actually going to tie her into it too. So with this now, this shines like a whole other just horrifying light on it too. So I think this then kind of outlines like the fact that getting powers from Vought is very much a genetic lottery as well, in the most kind of disastrous and most kind of, you know, like life kind of ruining of ways. Like if you actually get good, if you like the powers they view as good, and probably because of Homelander's representation of them is like, you know, laser eyes or flight, like those are like the really kind of top tier gold standard powers or anything similar to that. I think also like in extension to that too, probably anything kind of represented by the Seven, because the Seven are like the superheroes from Vought, like all those powers that they have and all those abilities too would probably be just as ideal. But then yeah, I think if you get really shit powers with like just really bad powers, or like powers no one really cares about, powers they can't profit off of, then you turn out to be a failure, and then also your parents end up being disappointed too, to the point where they're willing to disown you and actually leave you behind and everything, which is just a horrifying fucking thing. Because then even then like it's like, you know, like in real life, parents disowning their kids and throwing them out and giving them away is like a horrifying story in itself. But then with this, gives in like a whole new kind of like boys style kind of background to it as well. So when you see the powers that these Soup kids have too, it's like, you know, again, it's like I think from season 2, what they explored, like especially with like Frederick Vought being the one who founded Vought, he created Compound V, and he was like a geneticist, and he was ahead of his time in genetics too. It's like that's essentially what Compound V's are like the powers are just what you get. Like even there's like powers are essentially just a side effect, but then Compound V is pretty much the chemical that alters your genetics and alters your genes and mutates them to something else. So then, you know, powers are not like good powers or bad powers. Whatever powers you get, whatever you have is a mutation. It's altering your genes. It's changing what you are from human to something else, like from human to just like to in some. In society's eyes, you're more than human if you have good powers, but then you're less than human if you have bad powers. So, you know, either way, it's like them mutating, like especially since they actually give Compound V to kids too, like to babies, them mutating kids and then judging them based off of the results that come from that. It's like, you know, especially if you look at the powers the kids have in this home too, like one of them had like a boom box for a head that only played one song. Like I don't even know, like if his head actually kind of hardened and then reshaped itself to be a boombox, and then maybe the one song is like the only song he knows or the only song he likes, or maybe I don't know, just something his parents like or something. Don't even know how you'd get, because that is just like, as far as I know, like the deep is like, the deep has gills, but then that's because he's a fish. So I think as far as I know, like that's the only actual kind of body kind of alteration. Like because he's the deep, he's half sea creature. So like that's like the actual kind of bodily mutation for him. Like that's the one thing you wouldn't expect to find him. But then it's like Homelander. Like he looks and sounds completely human, but then everything about him is on the inside. Like he has the strength and he has the flight and all that kind of stuff. But then even then, it's like you wouldn't expect him to look that different. Like Queen Maeve, Starlight, like all of them, they look different. And then even I think Black Noir has like like burned skin underneath and everything. So that's why he wears like a full bodysuit and everything. But I think I'm pretty sure like the deep is the deep is the only one who actually has like an actual kind of visible body kind of mutation that doesn't look human and doesn't look like he should be on a human. But then with this, his head turned into a fucking boombox. Like I feel like under any other context that would be wacky and it would be funny and it would be amusing. But with this, I think it is very intentionally being portrayed to actually be like traumatic and like a malfunction in his genes because of actual kind of chemical alteration and all that shit. So there's the boombox, there's Kingdom. So I think some of the names were really kind of peculiar, but Kingdom, who could actually transform into any animal, but then once they did that, they transformed in mind and body, so then they forgot they were human. They absolutely, like, even their mind actually transformed into one of the animal and everything. So I think that was an ingenious kill. I kind of can't help but say it. I actually can't help but say it. But like the way Kingdom killed their parents at the end, that was almost ingenious. They're taking like because then I forgot what the actual liquid was, but then they turned into a shark. And then I remembered, oh yeah, it's Kingdom. Oh yeah, they can turn to an animal. Oh yeah, the mind transforms too. So actually kind of throwing a bucket of blood all over the parents and then turning into a shark. Yeah, that's just fish in a barrel. There's a little fish in a barrel. There's a teeny tiny fish in a barrel for a big fish. So yeah, that was a damn near ingenious kill. So I kind of got to give them props for that. But yeah, that was good. So there's Kingdom. Then the kid with the superheated bollocks and everything. That was something else. And even the way he killed her, he shoved like a hot shrimp or like a hot coal or something in his pants, and then just teabag. He literally teabagged someone to death. He literally teabagged someone to death, to a very, very heated and very, very hot kind of death. So the human tongue, I think the girl who was actually all muscle and no bones, so she just like, I think she could probably just like, I think because I mean, well, would that then, or I think, would you not need joints to do the stuff that she did? Because then I think she still wrapped herself around people. So I think, I don't know if like I think don't know if she was sticky either. Like maybe if she actually kind of like could like stick to them and then make them kind of bend. Because then I think the way that she killed her parents, I think I think she rolled over them. I don't think she actually kind of like actually twisted them. I think she might have actually rolled over them. But then like maybe her mass or like the strength of like because she's all muscle, maybe she can still use the strength of that muscle to actually kind of crush them and to just squeeze them. Because she just squeezed them and I think their heads blew up and everything. So there was that. So the human tongue. And then there's the giant, like the human tongue and the giant best friends. So the giant, literally just the giant, just could crush people with his bare hands. So there was that one. There was I think they called him Agua, the kid who constantly lived in containers, whether it be a water bottle or a pool or something, just probably permanently stuck in the state of liquid, and that liquid being a pool of water that looks like the Mexican flag. Some of the powers they had, some of the like I'm almost on half a mind about actually wanting to be in the writers' room when they come up with the stuff, and also not wanting to be in, because it's just like so some of the stuff is mundane, and other stuff it just fully makes you. Some stuff is mundane, some stuff makes you go what the fuck, and others just gonna leave you in like a perpetual state of confusion for God knows how long. So there was that one. So I think he went into the pool and someone else threw like a monitor or like a TV or something in there, and then electrocuted the parents. So there was that one. So it was Agua, and then Mo-Slo. Mo-Slo. I think that might be like because that feels like off the top of my head, I'd say Mo-Slo feels like something. I I say this because it has happened. It has happened. I was going to say, it feels like something you'd get on The Flash if he ever faced a villain that would slow him down and then turn him into the slowest man alive. That has happened. I think it happened with probably both the Turtles, because I think Turtle 1, I'm pretty sure, did that to the entire environment, and I think Turtle 2 did it in like a small kind of cubic kind of structure and everything. So it has happened. It has happened in The Flash. He has been turned into the slowest man alive multiple times and everything, like sometimes directly contradicting who he is and what he is. So yeah, Mo-Slo, it's just literally the opposite of Slow-Mo. So if you ever wondered what that would be like, and even that death, just like the father, I think the father just kind of being confused and kind of being kind of like not sure what's happening, but then also just kind of like trying to decipher his own son's kind of messaging. But then by the time he does realize, it's just like, like, do I really have to leave? Is it not going to take longer than I think? But then it's like, I think he definitely looked slower when he was walking compared to Ken, because I think even then, I think he actively, when he walks at a regular pace. And then I think with that one, it could probably look like far slower than it is, probably misleading you and making you think he's slower by default. But then when killing, he's actively pushing all of his strength into that, so then he can probably look faster, he can probably kind of seem faster and everything. So I don't know, it felt like he actually kind of killed him faster than he actually walked in the beginning of the episode. So that was the thing. So yeah, and even his talk too, I think, do you know what it reminds me of? Just reminded me right now, I think, are they sloths, like the animals in Zootopia? In Zootopia, like the ones at the DMV that take ages to say or do anything. I think were those sloths? I think I can't tell them. I'm pretty sure they were sloths. So yeah, those ones like who actively do take like just absolute ages to say or do, or just to exist. They take ages to actually get stuff done. Definitely reminds me of the human version of that is Mo-Slo. So yeah, whether they took inspiration, who knows? I think you can definitely kind of take that into like given that it's meant to represent really shitty kind of superpowers and everything. I feel like it's a concept you can kind of come up with kind of fairly easily and everything, and it's been covered in various different ways and everything, with superpowers on the Flash and the superpowers here, and then animal traits over there and everything. So the narrator can be being a kid in like a wheelchair too, who gets his own powers, like his power, like he I think it's like he talks about what happens, and he talks about everything that happens, and the narrator literally just kind of narrates. And I think, again, arguably a good position, arguably a good power. It might just be that you end up blurting out whatever happens, like oh, this person is going to the grocery store, that person is catching the bus, this person is doing a presentation at work or something. Like if you have the actual kind of if you have the right kind of persona for it, you can probably make that like a really good power. And you could do like trailer voices for you could do voices for trailers, you could do voiceover work for movies. Like you can actually kind of do some good stuff with that power. So as proven by this episode, he actually did like a good job narrating this episode and everything. So you can actually use that for yourself and use that in your own profession. Even if Vought doesn't want, you can grow up to be like a good voiceover kind of person. Like you can read for audiobooks, you can do narration in movies, you can do some good stuff with that. And even again, the narrator in this had like an actual great voice too. So either way he's good. I mean, he probably doesn't think that now, but he still has some chances. And then there's the kid who can actually find papers. I just remembered him, the kid who can find papers. I think, again, arguably a cool power, so long as he doesn't tell people that his power is finding papers. If he does that, then that's like a really shit description too, and it even looks shit. But then if he tells people he's an airbender and then makes sure to demonstrate his abilities in a library, he is all he has to do is tell people he's an airbender, and then actually say, okay, I can do it, but then my powers are best performed in a library and everything, and then he's set, and then he can actually do that. So yeah, but he tried to help find the papers, but the papers were hidden behind the wall. So there was that one. So that was again, some of these powers are like seem mundane, but then it's like, again, you can't really blame them. Like they're kids who were given these powers out of consent, and then even then it's like after the powers didn't really work the way that their parents all wanted them to, they were tossed out by birth and then left to kind of rot in secrecy and everything. So can't blame them for not being able to fully kind of look on the bright side of things, or even not even wanting to know there's a bright side of things, and their lives are already shit. So yeah. Then there was Titface. And literally just kind of boobs for a second. I mean, yeah, did it take over his whole face? Because he was still talking, so I have to assume maybe he had a mouth and maybe a nose. He's still talking, and granted, if you talk, that means you have a mouth, and if you have a mouth, you can still kind of you can definitely still breathe through your mouth. It's not like a one or nothing. But then if you can also breathe, then hopefully I know something. But then he had no eyes. I feel like he had no eyes, and I think that also does definitely change up how you see that transformation too. So then his eyes instead maybe bulge out of his eyes, but then instead of exploding, I think they just kind of transform into really saggy kind of like boobs and everything. And then even the milk comes out through the dog. Fucking jumped on his face and started licking his nipples, and then he started lactating and everything. So, Tit Face. I wrote it down as Tit Face, and I don't know if that was actually his name. I can't remember if that was actually his name in the episode, or if they actually named him something else like Boob Face or Tit Face or something. But I wrote down Tit Face. I think that is just, again, stuff like that feels like a genetic anomaly. So stuff like that feels like they were obviously sold off by their parents to be injected and tested with compound V, and then obviously because it didn't work with them, but I feel like some of those powers were actually kind of cool. Like the king. I mean, well, the kingdom one. Yeah, I think the only problem with the kingdom one is that the mind transforms too, so you can't really kind of use it, because then even the person themselves isn't fully in control. Because then I feel like, again, I think that's what makes that kind of kill so like full of like ingenuity in the end too. Because then obviously kingdom actually knows like how their power works, and they know that even their mind transforms into whatever animal they transform into. So then that's why they have a bucket of blood. So I feel like you could probably still do some neat tricks with that, like as long as you know how to tame and how to lead the animal in the way you wanted to, then that one, I feel like that one might be the most kind of ingenious kill, like in that entire montage and everything. So that one was alright. Then I think Ghost as well. I think Ghost seems pretty okay. But then it's like the whole point was that for Vought, the powers weren't cool enough for them to profit off of. So then they gave it back to the parents. But then the parents didn't sign up for that. The parents couldn't handle the kids if they weren't going to be given the support. Because I think then. One of the kids then mentioned like and I bet our parents thought they'd actually make so much money off of us if we got successful too. So then I think maybe you probably only get money if Vought can profit off of your child, which is again just needless to say fucking horrible. But I think maybe that's how Vought works. So then they promise you money for letting you like experiment on them, but then they only give you the money if the child develops and is able to sustain and maintain powers that are actually profitable for them, that they can actually use and everything to capitalize off of. So then if they can't find a use that they deem necessary or acceptable for your powers, then you get no money, and then the parents are stuck with a child that they can't control or anything. But then it's like the way that parents treat their kids too, like even the mother treating Ghost, like she was actively dumped and rejected and everything. Like she was like even the way that the way the parents talked about her, you promised us money and now like we can't deal with this, whatever the hell this is. Like this used to be a child and now it's just like a freak or something. So it seems like even the way the parents do it too, it's like, because then it's like, again, like Vought is one bad thing. Vought is bad, and like they're a corporation, they're almost like bad by definition, but then even like in practice they're just kind of horrible, like shitloads and everything. It's a not inaccurate reflection of what parents can be like in real life. Even in real life, parents can be really shitty and really kind of abusive and horrible towards their children. They can reject them, they can dump them, they can just kind of hurt them. If they keep them, then they can just easily just be abusive as well. But then if they just toss them away into the system, then it's like neglectful and all that kind of stuff. So even in real life, parents can be really shitty to you. But then it's like even in real life, I think a lot of I think it could also kind of be like somewhat of like a reflection of how in the real world, like how parents will kind of push their children into careers that they think are profitable, especially careers that come with fame too, professions that come with fame, like in the entertainment industry too. Like they'll probably force their kids to become musicians or actors or performers of some kind. They're imagining that their kid will become famous if they force them to do it in the right way, and they'll make a lot of money. But then sometimes even if it does work, it's because the kids themselves are kind of being abused through it and actually kind of forced through it, and just kind of being mistreated in all sorts of different ways, and the parents are leeching off of them too. And everything. I think it was a story kind of released quite recently. I think it might have been known for a few years, but then I think she actually released a book talking about it, about how her mother was abusive during the entire time and everything. DInahMight from iCarly fame. I think she's been but I'm pretty sure she's been in a few other things kind of outside of it too. But I think her most prominent role is from iCarly. But then she released a book talking about how her mother was endlessly abusive, and even the dude in charge of the show at Nickelodeon too was just a piece of shit as a whole. So I think again, it's even kind of reflecting stories in real life too, like how parents can be endlessly abusive in general, but also in actually kind of in pushing their children to do stuff that they want them to do, and actually kind of hoping to profit off of it and leech off of it, and actually trying to gain something for themselves and everything. And in this one, I think the parents, like, once the parents realized that they weren't going to get what they wanted and what they forced their kids through as babies, they weren't prepared to, and they had no interest in actually kind of dealing with the consequences of their own actions, and then they wanted to just leave their kids behind and just go on to live, what they presumed would be the rest of their lives and everything. So it's just like, again, it's like a really just like a horrifying story on multiple different levels and stuff, and it's really reflective of how, like, like some parents will kind of have kids just for the sake of actually kind of profiting off of them or gaining something from them, or like actually kind of projecting their shit onto them and hoping to receive something in return for it. So, and then Ghost as well. Ghost had the saddest, because I feel not with all of these kind of kids did we actually have sad stories to accompany them. Just like everyone got like the actual kind of confirmation of them having been rejected and duped out by Vought and dropped out by their parents and everything, but then very few of them actually got like actual kind of heartfelt kind of backstories and stuff. Like other than flashback, other than the flashback, it's literally offering like in-depth kind of personal kind of memory replays for like for different people as well. Like that one's a good one. So yeah, that was good. But yeah, Ghost is all Ghost. I think so she wasn't actually dead. Like I think the Ghost thing was to be able to do with her being unable to interact with anyone or anything, but also her appearance being so very kind of like transparent, right? I think I was going to say translucent, but no, translucent was actually fully invisible, and he died and everything. So I'm pretty sure she was wearing clothes, right? Because I think like she had only like one color, and that color I think was probably pretty intentionally kind of very, very ghostly and corporeal and everything. So, but I think it still looked like she was wearing clothes during that too. But then it's like, because with translucent, he had to wear, like, if he wore clothes, and those clothes would actually float as items on his body. So I think if he wanted to be fully unnoticeable, then he had to actually be fully naked and everything. So there was that. But yeah, Ghost. Ghost as well. I think Ghost. I mean, we've had a superhero called Ghost before who's had an abusive past and has been weaponized. And I mean, difference being with that one, I think she actually had like the ability to actually interact and the ability to actually kind of do stuff. And then that led to her being weaponized by Hydra in the MCU and everything. So. Yeah, but with Ghost, she couldn't do anything, and I think she was just like her parents were just devastated. Her parents were more devastated by the fact that they couldn't get anything out of this, and that Vought hadn't delivered properly on their end of the deal, as opposed to being kind of pissed off that something had happened to their daughter, and then they weren't even upset that this had happened to their daughter. Like they were upset that they couldn't get anything out of this, and that they were left with a daughter who was in this kind of uninteractable state and everything. So yeah, and then like the mother was all too happy to leave her behind and everything. So, but I think like her closing speech to her dad was just like so kind of heartbreaking too. Like the fact that like she wishes she could interact, because then she's still hungry, so she could still feel bodily stuff, and she definitely was traumatized enough that she can feel emotional kind of states too. But then she wishes she could touch and feel and do all sorts of things. But then she was also like pretty kind of like borderline, if not totally suicidal too. Because then the way her life was going, she was stuck in this kind of kids' home. She was stuck with these powers that she never asked for. She was stuck with stuck without parents who rejected her the moment they found out that they wouldn't be paid for this kind of power and everything. So. Yeah, she was stuck kind of feeling like she had nothing left to live for and everything, which is just like a horrible thing like to hear any kind of child say and everything. So, and I think I'm kind of curious as to how old they were too, because I'm not really sure if they actually mentioned how old the kids were. But I think I'm kind of guessing that teenage might not be like a bad kind of guess to make. Yeah, Ghost. I think Ghost kind of being the only survivor by the end too. So, yeah, just horrible, But yeah, in classic Vought style, they came through with more than just last time. They came through with their usual squadron of armed kind of mercenaries and soldiers and stuff. But then they also brought in, I don't know why the fuck they brought in them, because they brought in their biggest gun. They brought in the gun. They brought in a big gun that could easily even turn on their medium-sized guns, or their miniguns. Like those guys on the ground would easily be the kind of little miniguns, like pistols compared to Homelander. But yeah, they brought in Homelander along with an actual squadron of cars. I don't know why, just why, like Homelander alone. But then I think it's because I think they need to cover it up. But then it's like, would they still not just be able to use Homelander? Because then the whole point was then to cover it up as Homelander. So, but then they would need to hype up Homelander being their primary kind of positive result of Compound V. They will need to hype up Compound V using an actual positive test result and actually use that. Okay, that makes more sense. It's actually bringing in a suit that they're proud of and bringing in a suit that's profitable to help save. Because then that was cover up too, like Homelander saves women from other kind of assailants or other kind of enemies or whatever. So, but yeah, so then Homelander came in. Homelander, I figured as soon as he showed up and as soon as those laser eyes came on screen, I figured, oh, this is not going to end well. There's little to no chance it will end well. And no, in proper, more horrific slow-mo fashion, he lasered down all of the kids he could. Just lasered them in half and slaughtered them and everything. And then of course Ghost kind of being Ghost, kind of being in and out of reality. I think that being like the actual basis of her power too, like she's that kind of like transparent, but like in interaction, like even interaction, like she can literally phase through walls and do all that kind of stuff. I feel like there's a lot of potential for her. So yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, Ghost being the only one kind of unable to interact with them, even his powers too. She survived, she's the only survivor, and then she disappeared and everything. So yes, and that meant that they were able to cover it up as Homelander, Vaught's very own kind of mighty hero, saving a woman from assailants and everything. So, yeah, I think it's very interesting that they didn't really mention this in the actual in season 3 in itself. Like they didn't mention these events kind of taking place either. So then, with this one, I think with the second episode we only see Homelander, but then the Compound V news reveal that happened in season 2. That happened in season 2 because of Huey and Starlight's intervention. Huey and Annie, they actually worked together to actually kind of whistleblow the crap out of Compound V and actually kind of expose that to the world and everything. So I think that reveal, that it was because of that news reveal that the kids went on the revenge mission. So I think that happened in season 2. So we know that is season 2. So, and I think that cover up kind of pretty perfectly matches too. Because then the cover up is that they save them, but I think then the actual truth is like this is them eliminating threats. Because then the kids found out, like the Compound V kind of got out, and then that means it's all over, like it's nationwide news. So any child out there, reject or not, who finds out about Compound V knows that that's why it is. Because then even like you have like I think like religious conservatives like Starlight's mother, who then tried to pass off the story like that Annie was blessed by God and everything, and then she was born and she was chosen by God to have this. And then even you have Vought, who actually funds and is supported by religious conservatives all over the country, who actually kind of who actually buy into and actually fund and support and fuel that kind of narrative that God chooses people and special people to actually kind of be given these powers and be graced with God's kind of gift and everything to become one of Vaught's finest and all that kind of shit. So that narrative is the one they have to keep up. But then it's like this news then is then like the nationwide reveal that, oh no, they're not chosen by God, they're not chosen by anyone, they're chosen by Vought. But then even then, being chosen by Vought just means that as a baby you are then pumped taken away from your parents and pumped with Compound V, and then they wait to see what you come up with, and if they don't like it, they throw you away, they throw you into the gutter, into the trash, and then that's it. So and then, of course, even the dad, like Ghost's dad, was actually expecting that they'd see her again soon. So that means that, like, even Vought themselves knew that, like, if the kids who are old enough to understand why this is bad end up actually then finding out, like, what this is, and what's been done to them, then these kids will be on, like, revenge missions. They'll be running away from River Run and from Red River and from any other care homes are on, and any other homes are on. I think especially the rejects will find out what's happened to them and what's been done to them and the truth of where they come from. So they'll be out on kind of missions to kill and to hunt and everything. So we need to find them and eliminate them. So it's like eliminating any kids who might try and go up against Vought, who might try and go up and band together and things. So taking out threat while they can. And then that's why they bring in Homelander. So the narrator killed his own dad and then like wore his face and then apologized like while looking in a mirror and everything. So that was quite the narration of that. So the narrator is still alive, but then Ghost is also the only other surviving kid, I think. The only other surviving kid, because I don't know if all the kids that they actually introduced were in that final scene or if it was only like a select few of them, but either way, Ghost is one that we know survived. So it will be kind of cool to see Ghost in live action, because again, these kids are also like the kind of kids who would actively also team up with the boys. boys, because then again they're both on they're both on similar sides. They're both on like the side against Vought, and I feel like Butcher might just understand, like, if it's kids who are given these powers without consent and then tossed aside by Vought, then now they want revenge. He might just understand. But then in season 3, he's also given himself superpowers and everything. So I don't know. I feel like it could be like a grey area in terms of cooperation. But like Ghost is actually a character I'd actually want to see in the main show in like live action and everything, to bring her in. I feel like she could actually kind of do some really cool stuff, and even her power alone is like a really kind of damn near invincible kind of power too. So she could do. I feel like with the right people, I feel like she could actually do some really kind of cool stuff and actually find her foot again and find her way in life again. And I feel like she'd really get along well with Annie and Kamiko and everything. So you can just add more women to the boys' team as well. So I don't know if they ever would bring a character in from live action. I want to see Ghost. I don't want to see Ghost back. I want to see her get some justice. I want to get her see some justice. Like actually, kind of get some justice against Vought. Because then the main culprits were the parents. The parents that put them through this. But then I feel like after having successfully off their parents, I feel like they'd also like at least kind of dream of taking the fight to Vought themselves and actually kind of making Vought pay for what they did too and stuff like that. And I think Vought arguably also deserves more, because then I think Vought as well, like Vought exploits the dreams and the vulnerabilities of the parents, and then uses the kids to help them leech off of that. But then it doesn't work, and so then Vought refuses to take responsibility and accountability and everything. So Vought has arguably more to answer for than anyone else. So yeah, really, if they ever would, then really do hope they'd actually bring Ghost in. I feel like she has a lot of potential to actually kind of continue her life and to continue to find something and everything. So yeah. Didn't she like interact with Mo-Slo in the end? Like when, because I think she held onto his hand, because then he was trying to say like just like this, and then she was like, yeah, just like that. And she held onto his hand, and even like the camera angle shots of that animation too was actually really cool to actually seeing Ghost even through Mo-Slo's figure, and then Mo-Slo disappears and you see Ghost in there, and so it's like and her being a ghost too, her being like a corporeal-ish kind of figure too. I think her actively kind of somewhat physically or something like maybe through like some kind of breakage between states of matter, or states of dimensional existence or some shit. She managed to possess Mo-Slo and actually push his hand further in, because then otherwise he would have taken. I mean, I feel like that was one exception, because then with her she was angry enough to actually want it to take time and to want him to suffer slow. But then at the same time, I think that was still like an actual joint kind of kill between the two of them, where she actually kind of held on to Ghost's hand and even held on to the knife and actually pushed it through. So then maybe with her powers, like her interactivity was actually just like an instability that they took as like an actual kind of uselessness too. Like maybe it's like for her, obviously, because then obviously you have to train powers too. Because then I think even like with Homeland too, he was raised and trained in a lab to hone to actually harness his powers properly. Because then Ryan, he killed his he pretty much brutalized Stormfront and then ended up killing his mom because of how unstable his laser eyes were. But then Homelander, you uses laser eyes to actually heat up that water bottle in season 2. So I think training definitely changes the way you control your powers, and it can change the way you actually do stuff with them. Keeping that in mind, I kind of feel like maybe Vought takes one look and thinks about whether or not these kids would be worth the effort of training them. Because then I think episode 1 showed them showed that they actually were training babies to actually be then sent off for adoption and everything. And so that was that. So with this one, I feel like maybe then she was angry and emotionally charged enough to actually maybe interact with him or with the knife or both. And then maybe possess him to actually kind of do the thing. So maybe if she has enough energy going on within her, maybe she can actually possess someone like a ghost or like a spirit, and then make them do things. So then that again shows that she actually has potential to even control her own power and make people do things, and use that in the fight against Vought. So I don't know, but just like a small detail I actually remember where she actually did hold on to him and the knife and actually help push it through her dad's jaw and cut out his jaw and even his tongue and his cheek and everything. So yeah, again, just very graphic detail. So yeah, I haven't actually seen the show, but I've seen some clips here and there. This animation style did actually kind of remind me of Rick and Morty a little bit, especially with the mouth, the mouth lines and the teeth and the design of the teeth and everything, and the design of some of the heads. They remind me quite a bit of Rick and Morty. So I've only seen a few clips from that here and there. So not actually seen the entire show, so I heard it's really funny. And really music like a very really kind of adult kind of like a mature kind of comedy style kind of show and everything. And I think it also aired its last season. I think I'm pretty sure that at this point I think it's actually finished. So yeah, but like I kind of very, very vaguely like by like the facial features and the facial kind of structure, I kind of recognize the face from there and everything. So yeah, but very good animation style in that sense, and I think they're definitely kind of aging up and going for like a more kind of modern kind of touch from that too. So that was cool. But yeah, for now that is pretty much it. That is all I have from this one. I feel like this discussion and this review was infinitely longer than the last one, but I think I felt like there was more to talk about with this one and more definitely explored. So yeah, Red River and the Soup Kids home and the Soup Kids, who most of whom died. But I think I guess that they might have the opportunity to explore more of it in season 3 or something. So, or maybe probably just in the form of Victoria Newman and seeing if she remembers her. I mean, her killing Tony kind of does show that she'd rather ignore her roots and everything. But yeah, who knows? But I think still just like an incredibly kind of sad story about the kids who were forgotten and lost and, you know, just like thrown out and everything because they're not what their parents wanted or expected or anything. So yeah, a very reflective and very, very kind of superfied kind of story brought to you by the mind behind the boys and everything. So yeah, that was episode 2. So yeah, episode 2 of Diabolical. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like and comment on what you thought of the episode and what your thoughts are on this whole story and how it affected you and what you thought about it and what you're looking forward to in Diabolical and your thoughts on the animation and everything. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So until next time, bye bye for now.